What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. A lot of people have been sending me this particular story regarding Russell Westbrook at a fashion show in New York, in which Mr. Westbrook is wearing, it appears to be a long skirt. I don't know if you would call it a dress, and a very questionable sweater vest. But let me, before I get on him, let me kind of get back to this whole Lil Nas X thing, right? And many people have been talking to me about Lil Nas X's attempting to feminize young black men because of the, quote unquote agenda and stuff like that. And while I do agree to those sentiments, I just want to say that a lot of young black men, if I could guess, and I know I'm 40 now, but if I could put myself into their shoes of when I was a kid, Lil Nas X is probably not a guy that a lot of brothers want to be like. All right, just even if he wasn't doing what he was doing, this is just something that a lot of guys are not trying to be like. Okay, guys are trying to be like LeBron James. Okay, heterosexual, strong type of athletes. The Kevin Durant's. All right. Back in the day, the Michael Vicks in Russell Westbrook. And I'm saying that because if you see Russell Westbrook play, James Harden play, especially Westbrook, he's a guy that puts it all on the floor. He plays hard. He's a top tier point guard. He'll go to the Hall of Fame, first ballot, 4 years of averaging a triple double. I don't think it's ever been done in NBA history. He's everything that a young black man wants to be in the sport. At one point, was very, very athletic. He's still athletic to a certain degree, but not like he used to be. I mean, he could take over a game. This is what brothers are looking for. Guys like Russell Westbrook. But then when, you start looking at people who are influencing kids and stuff like that, I don't really think that it's Lil Nas X. But I would say that who is being influenced, if you want to talk about, young black men putting on dresses, things like that, they're going to look at guys like LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. Okay? And the reality is that this is something that you don't really see other athletes doing outside of the black community. You see it really happening with black men. All right? And I think this is what the problem is when many people refer to the buck broken or feminization by mainstream society of African American men. And when you look at other guys in other parts of the world, this is not acceptable in Africa. And if you want to look at the guys who are competing against America right now, whereas China or India, this is something that you don't see. All right? But you do see it happening with our black athletes. And then we want to know why. Well, I can say this. I was from an era where Dennis Rodman was a player, and Dennis Rodman was definitely, in my opinion, I don't think he was gay at all. Was Dennis Rodman a little off? Yes. And Dennis Rodman, walked around in drag and stuff like that, in makeup and things, and I mean, he had many women. There was never any evidence that I know of that he was gay. But Westbrook, could that be the case? I don't know. I mean, he got a loving wife that go to bat for him all the time. I've never heard any things about that. But it's just the whole point that as a black man, why do you have on this style of dress? Now, I remember the wrestler Roddy Piper. If you guys can remember him, his role in the WWF was he was he was an Irishman that wore a kilt. Okay, he would have a somewhat of a skirt on. All right, and if you look at it here, it was the culture of what he was trying to say. He said he was from Ireland, and it's something that they did, although he really wasn't from Ireland, he was a Canadian. But it was something that was a part of that culture. So it's not like wearing a skirt is not a part of masculine culture. But the one thing that we do know, it's not a part of American culture. Certainly, it's not a part of African American culture, which is a subculture of both the continental Africans and being Americans. And what I would say is, before you come for those people like Lil Nas X and the guys who are out there just flamboyant, look at the guys who are supposed to be heterosexual that are flamboyant. Because I don't think really Lil Nas X, maybe I'm wrong, I'm out of touch. You guys know more than me because I haven't been in the country for a while. For 2 years. That was last time I've been in America. I was there in 2019. I just don't see that young black athletic young men or black men who like sports. I don't see them like, oh, Lil Nas X and like, okay, he's the guy I want to be like. I don't get it. It wouldn't resonate with me. A guy like Russell Westbrook is who they're looking for. And then what does this all fall towards? Parenting. Okay? And guys don't like it, but parenting is where we're at. All right? We have to be the ones as black men, okay, to say, listen, this is what masculinity is, and this is how you should operate. All right? Because I know, back when in my days, if you're a young guy and you try to put on your mama's shoes, something like that, in the 80s and 90s, it was repercussions behind that. You don't put on mama's shoes, all right? And I know many of you guys from that era, you know that even little kids just do anything, whatever. So you are letting know that this is not your role. That's debatable now. It wasn't debatable at that time, but it's debatable now. But I would say it's at least important for you to talk to your children and your young men if you have a problem with this and say, hey, listen, this sort of behavior, if you have a problem with it, skirts are more or less meant for women, all right? And these pants and things are men's wear, okay? And men have to really come up. And like I said, I will talk about this. The brother that came at Kevin Samuels the other day, he made a very interesting point that I just can't deny. Ryan Davis, he said, you know what? The reason why a lot of black men take pictures that look very feminine is because they were raised around their mothers. They're not gay. I don't think Russell Westbrook is gay. But they're raised around their moms. Like, you put up pictures of Neo and pictures a lot of NBA of people that was in the 90s that was singers. And these young men don't have a role model to look after. So when they don't, they have to devote their own. A lot of times it's their mom. Don't mean that they're gay. It could be in style for them. And I think that's the issue. And I think that for people that take umbrage with what's going on with Mr. Westbrook, be the change that you want to see. It starts with working with your children. It starts with working with the young men. Supporting causes that help develop men into masculine men. Okay? Traditional masculine men. And you can't expect these young guys to become what they don't see. And that's why I'll leave it today. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. I really appreciate you for all that I do, for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment at the top. As you know, the buffoonery remains at all-time high.